Aren't we all just products of our environment? In the age-old battle between nurture and nature, those who say we do what we do because we're hardwired to do it, or those who say we do what we do because our environment conditioned us to do it, neither one of those sides is particularly eager to take responsibility for what we do. The first thing we have to affirm is that we do what we do because we want to, and we're responsible for the things that we do, whatever might be previous or prior causal factors in it. No one can say, well, yes, I robbed the bank, but that's okay. I'm a bank robber. Or I robbed a bank, but that's okay. My dad was a bank robber. My grandfather was a bank robber. I was surrounded by bank robbers. It's all I ever knew. But there's another problem with this idea that our environment makes us what we are. No one who believes this idea seeks to persuade us of this idea by changing our environment. Let's take as a classic example Beyond Freedom and Dignity by B.F. Skinner, a great popularizer of ideas connected with behaviorism. Beyond Freedom and Dignity was a pop psychology book that was a bestseller communicating essential behaviorism and defending it. Giving careful, rational, or one might argue irrational, arguments in defense of this thesis. We believe what we believe because our environment conditions us to believe it. And yet it wasn't an appeal to our environment to get us to believe it. It was arguments. He was treating us as if we had freedom and had dignity so that he could persuade us that we have no freedom and we have no dignity. It's incoherent. It's self-referentially absurd. It makes no sense. If it's true that we are what we are and we believe what we believe because of our environment, then we could never believe otherwise, and we can never believe that. In fact, we can never believe anything that we believe because there'd be no reason to. The environment is not a good standard by which to determine what's true. And if you take the position that we can't know what's true, then why are you trying to persuade us of that position? It doesn't make any sense. Friends, we are responsible for the choices that we make. We will stand before the judgment seat of God, and we will not be able to say, it was the potty training thou gavest me. It was the educational system you put me in. It was my parents' psychoses. None of that's going to fly. Now, again, I'm not arguing that there's no such thing as an environmental impact on us. I'm not saying that we're all blank sheets. I am saying we're all responsible for what we do. And if we can get outside our environment to discern the impact of our environment, then we can get outside our environment to disarm the impact of our environment. Do you follow that? If we can get outside our environment enough to discern the impact of our environment, then we can get outside our environment enough to disarm the impact of our environment. You can't take the view that everybody's enslaved, but I'm in charge, and I know it, and I can set you free, or I can enslave you. If everybody's enslaved, you know who else is enslaved? If B.F. Skinner's right, do you know why B.F. Skinner's right? Not because of his arguments, but because of his environment. If we're all Pavlov's dogs, then we can't be the ones ringing the bell. we're the ones having our chain jerked.